This is IBM Museum, and this time I'm consoled into the 8275-113. That's that Ethernet switch with the nice display panel. And unfortunately, I have that display panel. I've got that on top of my AS400. I've got it turned away. So I'm not doing any camcorder view for this session. I'm going to go through, on the computer, I've actually got the console cable connected in, and I want to go through and actually start modifying this 8275 for the connection with the AS400. I do remember a little bit of the network settings, and you can see in that lower right hand corner, it talks about the local area connection of limited connectivity just went away. We'll go through and correct that when we get to the point of going through to where we get logged in. Okay, or was that just a blank? Yes. So the system information, and I think I can go through to where we'll go back to the main menu. I'm not necessarily worried about that. Okay. I'm not necessarily worried about the location and all the other contact information. So network configuration is the main aspect that I want to work with. Now I do remember that the AS400, it's on 192.168.69, and I think that is it's on like .4.5, and I think it's an entire /24 as I remember it. For the IP address of the switch here, I'm going to go through and I'm going to set that as 2.2. The subnet mask, it's that entire /24. And for my default gateway, I'm just going to put in this value of the 192.168.69.1. And we're going to go through and we're going to save that information. Okay, until the system is restarted. And I can't remember if okay, so device control. Okay. And so system utility, I think we have the ability, should have the ability to restart. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do a cold start because we want to entirely boot this from. So all these other settings will take effect. And I apologize for not being able to see it, but it is going through and having information on the display as it goes through and boots up. And the reason I was getting that worried about that local area connection is that on this XP system, I just went through and I unplugged the internet side, the cabling allowing it to be connected to the internet like I normally have it, being able to go onto those Ardent Tool pages and things like that. And again, it's going through and doing the warning. We don't have any IP address values set on this station for now. And we're just going to set some IP addresses. And I think, again, that, as I say, that the AS400, I think, is 192.168.69.4, I think, is my memory. And I'm going to go ahead and put the .3 address on this station. And the reason I'm doing that with the network cable in is I want to try to get connected to the web interface on this system. So let's take a look at that. And I'm in a 100 megabit per second port right now. So that's, I'm going to go through and have issues with that anyway. I'm just making sure that I've got all the information viewable on the screen. Going to network connections, right click, properties, going to our internet protocol, and instead of a DHCP address, we're going to go 192.168.69.3. We're doing the whole /24 address, so 255.255.255.0 for the subnet mask. And the default gateway, again, we're just saying that value of the 192.168.69.1. DNS, we don't really need really any values in there. We're just going to work with things by IP. You know, I should know other DNS values off the top of my head. I just remember the Google stuff right off. And again, those don't matter if we're dealing by IP address. And I want to look at status. I mean, we are connected here. Let's look at the status. It should just be a 10 megabit per second connection, which is fine in this case. And, you know, we've got connectivity. In fact, if I would look at the utilization, we're not really going through and working too much with this, but we do see that utilization turnover a little bit. I could have probably set up a webcam right on that. Do we have... I wanted to really go through for Internet Explorer. You know, because just Internet Explorer, it's typically used to going through, and this has not been really changed for any of the homepage settings or anything like that. What I'm trying to do here is I'm just wanting to go onto that 192.168.69.2 address for the web interface. Okay, and I think this will be the same. The admin with the blank password. We don't need to have it remember the password for anything currently. I think there was a time long ago that I went through and a lot of time these are set by, there's ActiveX components and Java scripts that run on these that would go through and display the pictures. And we're just getting broken links here for that information. And let me go through. I'm going to turn this off just for a moment, that webcam view. But we do have, you can see the links that we have there. It's not drawing that picture. It's probably normally would draw a picture of the switch up there. And I might have to look at, I think that this has probably upgraded the Internet Explorer to a higher level than what is kind of, okay, version 6, which is probably fine relating to the level here. And we've got the links around. I'm going to go through, and here's the IBM Corporation. I guess if you're on the internet side, this would probably bring up, yeah, it's bringing up where it talks about trying to find that www.ibm.com. And, you know, if the switch were also effectively had that good internet uplink. So we learned that that's kind of going to be a dead link effectively. Here's our basic, our home page. I'm going to find out what info.htm. Not really seen. Okay, so the home page is probably displaying what we're seeing all along. There's your system info. And this is the other way to update all that contact information and where the system is. And then it gives you the uptime. And then there's also the cancel or the update buttons on that page. Networking. Shows the networking information. And apparently this has the ability to go through and to save more of these interface configurations. And I don't know if the one is like a primary or not. There's our serial port information. Go to control for device. Okay, and that gives some of the information about the unit itself. Okay. And these are ways to go through, and ultimately it has, and this equipment has, this switch has 12 ports on the front of it. And so you have the ability to go through between all the ports and even name the port. Typically you can do like the attached device to that port. This is really kind of typical for a lot of network switches that are out there of this time frame, even a little bit later. Other manufacturers have a lot of this sort of look to them and the ability to go through on the web interface and to do these particular things. Some go through where you also have the IBM switch just has that menuing utility. Doesn't look like it had a whole bunch of ability to specify that in the console session, or a lot of the switches later on they did. Of course, you could do SSH sessions to them and set all that in the running config by text to go through and have all these values in there for the port. For this switch here, it looks like it's effectively just through the web interface. Okay, so it's saying a total of 15 ports there, and that's likely true with the way that they have the expansion port on the back and how they may go through and kind of some of the shared locations for those. And I'm actually in the port 1 right now with this system that we're viewing the web interface over. So there's port 2. You can go through and query. And it just goes through all the different screens. I haven't seen that update yet. Guess it's still doing that percentage bar down at the bottom. It's loading. It's not particularly quick at all. Okay, still says something about an opening page. I'm just going to do a cancel. Permanent address, that's the MAC address of this unit. And it looks like you can even modify the MAC address of this, which is kind of interesting in its own as well. And the MAC, okay, the MAC address for the ports, yeah, that you can set on the port connections, not for the main unit, not the MAC address of the main unit. So, I mean, this is handy as well to go through and to set up to where only particular MAC addresses may be linked, and doing that as possibly as some sort of aspect of security. There's your Vlan settings. I think we looked over this before from the console port of the up to 4 VLANs. And I can choose memberships into those VLANs based on this listing. And later on, when I get the AS400 set up a little bit more, I'll probably go into a little bit into the VLANs and do a little bit of separation. Even in the home environment, a lot of time I go through and I do run 4 VLANs on my own equipment. But that's probably a subject for another video of how I go through and organize networks and have an admin VLAN and have an IoT or a DMZ VLAN to have some equipment on, in addition to the main LAN of equipment that accesses the internet, having the wireless access points and things like that. So there's more information about the spanning tree protocol for the VLAN group, STP for port, spanning tree protocol for VLAN port. Okay. So quite a bit of detail. As I say, this is a little bit common for that time frame. Here's the Armon. There's the configuration of it. And then, okay. And I've worked with the Armon stuff, in particular with some of the Dell switches that I've got deployed in my home environment. And okay. Statistics. Okay. And just giving a view of some of the things through these. There's the same sort of utilities and the ability to go through and to do a restart from within this web interface as well. And then lastly, we have notice for the users of Microsoft Internet Explorer. Okay. In the Microsoft Internet Explorer, using IP address instead of a host name to access the device website may cause problems in downloading Java classes. So this is really associated with a lot of the Java classes. And as I say, normally up towards the top where it's got that little red X, it's just not able to draw the image. And that was typically an active image and showing even what ports in green were active on the switch. And so these, I mean, it would be possible to go through and to tune this a little bit better and have entries in there for being able to show that Java content. So that is a little bit of information that we stumbled across at the end. I'm going to go through, I can leave that putty session up. We're not logged in. And in fact, I want to go through and as a last step of going through and seeing, we're going to go through, and of course we can probably ping the switch. Okay, and we shouldn't have any devices that are suppressing pings. We've got this station on the .3. Let's see for the .4. And I don't think the TCP/IP is running correctly on the AS400, so we probably wouldn't be able to ping it based on that. And I don't think it's on the .5. I think it's on that .4 address. Not that .5, but just going through and trying some things there. So that's been a little bit of view into the web interface of the IBM 8275-113. A nice little Ethernet switch that I'm going to go through and use with my AS400. And so I hope this is informative. Certainly, if you like it, go ahead and click on that like button and subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. Recommend it to your friends. Like to see more subscribers. But this is IBM Museum. That's all I have for now. Thank you.